Every time I sit down to do nothing, my hand reaches for my phone. But here is the strange part. I deleted Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook a long time ago. There is nothing to scroll practically, and my hand still reaches. So, today I want to talk about why doing nothing feels so wrong and where exactly I learned it. I grew up in Romania, and in my house, doing nothing was not a neutral activity. Every time my mom saw me just sitting, just enjoying being a child, she found something for me to do. To clean the flat, to help her with something, there was always something to do. I don't think she invented this, I think it's more cultural, because in Romania, sitting still is called laziness, and laziness is something you have to correct. It's such a well known thing that Romanian comedians make entire sketches about it. But if you grew up in a Romanian household, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So that was lesson number one I learned before I was 10 years old. Rest is something you have to hide. And I did hide. When I got my first camera, I started disappearing into the meadow behind our house. And I photographed plants, trees, sunsets, and tiny insects for hours. My mom would look for me and couldn't find me. I was hidden between the trees doing something that, from the outside, looked exactly like nothing. I didn't understand it back then, but that meadow was the only place where I was allowed to be still. Nobody could hand me a task there. Then the time passed by and I grew up and trained as a cook. And professional kitchens took my childhood lesson and turned up the volume. In a kitchen, when the boss is there, you don't stand still. Ever. It doesn't matter if your work is done. You find something, because you have to. You wipe, you prep, you move, because standing still looks like you are not needed. Looks like you are doing nothing. And looking not needed and doing nothing is how you lose your job. So, lesson number two. Being still isn't just laziness. Now it's a risk. A few years later, my husband and I were traveling through Southeast Asia. We spent some time on Koh Lanta, an island in Thailand. Back then, we had a travel YouTube channel together. For many people, it sounds like a dream. Travel the world and film it. In reality, it slowly turned every beautiful place into a workplace. We stopped enjoying the travel itself. So we quit. By the time we got to Koh Lanta, all of that was behind us. There was nothing to produce, nothing to film, and nothing to prove to anyone anymore. And I still couldn't rest. The first week I kept thinking, this place is so beautiful, maybe I should film something, maybe I could make something out of it. I was on one of the most beautiful islands I have ever seen, planning content for a channel that no longer existed. And of course, I couldn't help myself. I still have a few reels and photos from that island. I told to myself they were just for me. The second week was better. Not because the island changed or because we left it, because I finally let go. And that's when I understood something. At some point, the pressure stops coming from your mom or your boss. You take over the job yourself. You become your own kitchen, to say it so. So now I am practicing 10 minutes a day of doing nothing. And I'm going to be honest with you. I am bad at it. I'm really bad at it. I scratch my head, I look at my nails, my hand reaches for a phone that has nothing on it. Staying alone with your own thoughts is generally hard when you have spent your whole life learning that stillness is a mistake. And here's the funny part. In other moments, I'm fine. I eat without watching anything, I walk without headphones. That part is easy for me. But sitting down with the single purpose of doing nothing, that still feels like waiting to be caught somehow. Sometimes I think about that girl in the meadow. From the outside, she was doing nothing. In reality, she was noticing everything. The plants, the light, the tiny insects nobody else stopped for. Doing nothing was never my problem, but being seen doing nothing actually was. So that's what I'm unlearning now, 10 minutes at a time. Not how to rest, because I knew that as a child. I'm unlearning the feeling that someone is about to walk in and hand me something to do. The meadow is still there, by the way. Maybe not the exact one, but I'm learning to find my way back to it.